Meghan's payback time. Harry and the royal family prepare for the most terrible thing to happen. One royal commentator, Benjamin, has exclaimed that Meghan has nothing to lose. Now, many people are claiming that she's going to go out with a big bang. And we're now hearing that Meghan is writing a book. We're hearing that she's working on a tell-all memoir, and it's going to be her final goodbye to royal life. She knows it's all over for her. It's been made perfectly clear to her that not one single member of the royal family ever wants to see her again. The expert explained she knows she is hated by the British public. I live in Bray, a few miles from Windsor, and I can confirm that the residents of this royal town will never forget how she turned the Queen's last few years into a living hell. To say, as many people believe, she hastened the Queen's death is spot on. The royals also believe this. The family was united in Charles's decision not to allow the duplicitous actress anywhere near the Queen's deathbed. What we may read in the press about a reconciliation with the royal family can be taken with a pinch of salt. It's not going to happen. The Duchess of Netflix, as Talk TV called her this morning, has effectively been banned from our aisles. When Harry told the Queen they intended to be half-in, half-out royals, working abroad but coming back for the big royal events and ceremonies, investitures, Buckingham Palace garden parties, trooping the colour, and the like, the Queen, to her credit, was having none of it. Guided and supported by Philip, she told Meghan to get out of the UK. Some are still going to say they chose to step back from royal life. This isn't true. Markle and the dim one were given the order of the boot, as was confirmed today by a London journalist who is a national treasure in Fleet Street. And all this apparently has caused Meghan to become very bitter indeed. As we already know, we've talked about a lot, she is so jealous of Catherine, the woman who one day will be queen. Meghan just can't deal with seeing Catherine's happy family enjoying some well-deserved attention from the public. Now, Meghan is incredibly unpopular not only in the UK, but also in the US, and she knows that. It's obvious. So her last attempt to make it is going to be her tell-all memoir. And we got to understand that the publisher, whoever it's going to be, is going to want to make money on their investment. And they're going to encourage her to really go after the royals. They're going to be more than happy to turn a blind eye to her lies because she's going to make the royals look bad and they think it's going to sell copies. And Meghan's going to see this as her chance to get revenge, and she's going to use the book to throw Harry under the bus as well because she doesn't really need him anymore. He's already outlived his purpose. Now Meghan can dump him, she can shame the royal family, and she can make a lot of money in the process, and that is what she plans to do. So Penguin Random House published Spare, and boy did they market that book with multiple tricks. They sent double the number of books that booksellers had ordered, and they gave away a free copy of Spare every time any online book order was made. And then they falsely claimed that the book was a bestseller, that it had broken records for a nonfiction memoir. Because they were counting all the books that were sent to booksellers as already sold, and they just ignored all the books that were returned. And now it seems like Meghan's going to try her hand with a tell-all book. So is Penguin Random House going to want to publish it? And if Spare was such a success, why hasn't there been any effort to get a second book from Harry? Many people said that they didn't want to buy Harry's book, but then they did. People love to think bad of other people because it often makes them feel better about themselves. What people, though, cannot see is that Harry and Meghan have leveled so many accusations against the royal family in the media, but they haven't produced any evidence to support any of their claims. They know they can say whatever they want about the royal family because they know the royal family can't fight back. And in Meghan's book, I hope she includes references to singing seals, the car chases in New York during a traffic jam, Harry's adventures in the chicken coop, some weird blurry photos of the invisible children, and also I hope we get some more stories about Harry's Todger. Oh my goodness. Her biggest problem, though, is going to be that she doesn't have anybody in her life who is there because they really care about her. I'm sure she's got some hangers on, but they're not there because they care about her. They're just trying to get something out of her. Meghan is toxic, and that's never going to change. Harry is too, but it looks like he's too dumb to understand his dilemma. He and Meghan believe that when people pay attention to them, it's because they like them. But in reality, people are fascinated because of their connection to the royal family. Individually, they have nothing meaningful to offer anybody. So what do you think about Meghan's new plans for a tell-all memoir? I know we can rely on you to share your opinions in the comments section. And now let's talk a little bit about your opinions that you shared in my previous video. I'm going to share a few from our Meghan killing Invictus video. All right, so it sounds like some of you think Harry needs to be shown some tough love. I'm inclined to agree. Bella says, well, that's what happens if no one puts a stop to it. People need to stop mollycoddling him. Loads of people have had and continue to have trauma without the resources he had and has. Time to get on with it. And then we got some people agreeing, and Susanna says, I couldn't agree more. This old Londoner remembers watching two solemn little boys following their mother's coffin on the day of Diana's funeral. And like most Londoners, I bawled my eyes out at the senseless death of a beautiful princess who was so human that we all related to her, but also for those two little boys who had lost their loving mum. More than 2 decades later, William seems to have got on with his life, while Harry, well, we all know where Harry is, and it's not good at all. He chose the woman from hell to be his wife, and he seems to be stuck in some kind of living nightmare. I'm inclined to agree, but I think that being overly sympathetic with Harry is not going to help him. I agree with what Bella says. People need to stop mollycoddling him. He needs to learn to stand on his own 2 feet. I'm always glad when I hear from people who share my opinion of the mainstream media, like Margot Hartwell, 6195. Margot says, the annoying thing is, mainstream media are reporting it as going well for them. The Daily Mail had their mugs on the front page today with a thumbnail that Invictus is a great success. I am so annoyed. We are not hearing anything about the veterans and the games, just pictures of those two. At least Harry looks like he is taking it seriously, but she is just treating it like the Meghan Market show. Sick of it. I'm sick of it too, Margot. And I'm really sick of mainstream media outlets who cover them in a positive way, who just ignore all the problems they cause. Meghan and Harry are not the kind of people we should be celebrating. They are the kind of people we should be ignoring. I really like this theory that Phoenix Dyer shares with us. I agree with the comments. I have an idea why maybe she wasn't stopped by anyone connected to the games. It's about the money. They don't want to jeopardize the games, and most probably do not know exactly how Harry is involved with the money. You're probably right. Usually, when there's something suspicious going on, if you just follow the money, you can easily find the answer. And I'm guessing this is the case here too. I'm also glad to see that most of you are just as upset as I was that Meghan and Harry distracted the attention away from the veterans. Missy said, it's about the veterans. So sick of Smirky and her hypocrisy too. Doesn't honor our brave soldiers. She's despicable. I couldn't agree more. And then Wendy says, Simon Weston is a true hero. He has struggled his way up and has shown he is a true soldier. That's a man who knows very well the gremlins that haunt many a veteran, and he is the man for the job in my humble opinion. I agree with you, Wendy, and I hate the fact that we got to listen to Meghan and Harry instead of getting to listen to someone who actually has something important to say, like Simon. Karen says, the soldiers went through hell fighting for us. They are missing limbs and or are suffering from PTSD. But Kate made her cry, so in her mind that gives her the right to preach. It is sick beyond comprehension that she is making millions off of them. Talk about adding insult to injury. It is horrible that Meghan Markle thinks she has any place up on that stage. And then Sandalio says, Meghan's speech made it all about her. It is sad that we haven't heard anything about the veterans and their families. The press is so focused on Meghan's fashions and how great she is. Thankfully, we can't see that. I don't know what they're talking about anyway. What exactly is so great about Meghan Markle? As always, please keep on sharing your opinions because I just love reading your views. Anyway, I'm going to continue with the information surrounding Meghan's memoir. So one fan wants to give to Meghan Markle. Once and for all, let everything out at once. Write your memoir or tell all. No more drip feeding. You and your husband have made fools of yourselves already with your nonsensical tidbits and lies and half-truths. Your book, As Harry Spare, will only make you look more foolish, vindictive, and ugly. How does someone with a mundane life for 40 years, albeit an actress of some sort, mostly unknown until you married a well-known prince, have enough for a memoir? We've already heard about your letter to the dishwashing soap manufacturer over and over. We've read excerpts from your blog, The Tig, where you praised your father and extolled your favorite wine. Yawn. We've seen common childhood and teenage photos that most of us have. Birthday parties, standing with family members you're no longer in touch with, prom pictures, and first wedding photos. After you've said it all, after being a working royal for perhaps only 18 months, there should be nothing left to say, and maybe once it's done, others can come forward and write a tell-all about you. Bring it on. Meanwhile, another person called out, while I do agree that Meghan is jealous of Catherine and really wanted and expected to be in her place, which shows how little Harry told her about royal life pre-wedding, I think now it is Harry who is more bitter. He probably isn't really very happy in California. And while he loves the big attention-getting engagements where he goes on stage with his name or title in lights, he isn't getting near the attention he got when part of the royal family. In the UK, he was unique as a member of the monarchy. In the US, he is just one more attention-grabbing celebrity. I think for the first time in his life, he now worries about money. The Winfrey interview confirmed that. But because of his background, he really doesn't know how to make it. He is not skilled in anything other than perhaps polo, and people are tired of his nonstop moaning about his mental health and the early death of his mother. He hasn't the faintest idea about how to produce an entertainment series, which is why their Spotify deal fell through and Netflix is pressuring them to fulfill their contractual obligations. I think Meghan is more ambitious because she knows you need to stay relevant in that industry, which they are finding difficult to do. But Harry has always just floated along, showing up at engagements when told to. But now he has to make his own decisions, which I believe really hurts his brain. His reaction to the changes in his life does appear to be bitterness, and in some photos I find him looking quite sinister. And Meghan, she should never have passed through the gates of Buckingham Palace, never been escorted by the Queen or any members of the royal family. One huge mistake compounded by so many more. This must never happen again. Two traitors who would have been incarcerated in the Towers in years gone by, now beloved as one of the king's sons. Wed to a female who the country loathes. Why is this saga allowed to continue? We know who should be answering the question, but it is time enough to rid of the cancer. Cut it off now. And you, do you also agree with the views in my video? Please let me know what you think below in the comments. And don't forget to like and share this video with anybody else who would enjoy it. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.